Heidi yesterday, does she think that what Israel is doing is collective punishment? So for me, it's like having the courage to ask that. And for Heidi, it's having the courage to answer that honestly, but respectfully. So although I can disagree with her, it helps me understand her position, particularly as a lawyer. Like I want to know my opponent's side and where they're coming from and their points, which have some validity and something to back it up. I want to understand that fully myself. Another part of our conversation that was quite impactful for me is asking Heidi how one can criticize the actions of the right-wing Israeli government. Like, how can we better do that without being anti-Semitic and hateful? And what would that look like? And also, like, to hear Heidi also be able to criticize the Israeli government, it gives me insight into, like, how can I better express my grief and my anger? So just to be better at that, because I think the complaints and the protests have most of the time a valid reason, but the messaging is quite hateful and harmful.
Heidi, what have you been surprised by that you've been able to discuss?
Oh, everything. To be able to, I've been looking for Netta for decades, right? To have like a Palestinian person who is deeply connected to her Palestinianness and to be able to talk about all the difficult issues, whether it's talking about what is Hamas, what is Hamas to Israelis, what is Hamas to me, what are the internal conflicts even within Palestinian leadership. If Israel disappeared today, would Palestine be a unified, beautiful, happy country? No, it would not. And I can talk to her about those things and she can acknowledge that. And even though, in a different scenario, we are enemies, and yet here we are, like tackling the things that so many people don't seem to have the bravery or the knowledge or the actual care to really get into. So every conversation is sort of earth shattering in a wonderful way, in a good way.
Is there something that has changed your perception where your conversations sort of open the iris, if you will, to broaden your perspective on something that you hadn't considered before? Netta, let me start with you.
Speaking with Heidi helped me to understand the predicament that the Israeli government is in, that the state of Israel is in, and the need for it to defend itself, and the complexities of urban warfare. It doesn't change my mind that all this violence is justified or necessary at all. I mean, I don't think that nobody can ever change my mind on that, just because of what I've seen and the extent of the devastation. But to be able to not be so black and white, that has helped me expand my mind a little bit more.
Heidi, Netta was able to ask you, how could the killing of Palestinians be justified? I mean, it's a big, heavy question. What was your response to that?
So I don't like, I don't like being put in a position to justify the killing of women and children.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to talk about this with her. But at the end of the day, there is no doubt that my people are fighting for their survival right now. And that's what it comes down to, that at the end of the day, I have to choose my people. And we're a good people, and we're a loving people, and we are a productive people, and we deserve to live in freedom and security, just like the Palestinians do. And right now it really has felt like an either or, not just on the battleground, but on the world stage of politics. And if I am gonna truly be an advocate for her people and for my people, it can't be at the expense. I can't fight for Palestine and for Palestinians at the expense of my people. That's unacceptable to me. So I have to be able to look Netta in the face and say, this is what's happening in war. And if my people are going to come out of this, then we have to defend ourselves. And it's a horrible thing to have to say to someone, truly.